Welcome back to Friday the 13th, 2009, Part 2, DVD and film review. I just want to first start off by saying I apologize for the earlier film being a little bit too short. Or, I mean, believe me, it wasn't too short, it was too long. It's late and my mind is just elsewhere right now, but I figured I'd get these videos out because everything is like fresh in my mind, and I just finished watching the movie for the second time, legitimately, because the first time I had seen it was in the movie theater. And I will say that it was a lot more enjoyable in the movie theater because of the sound and the atmosphere and everything, and I was a little younger too, you know, like, I mature a lot in movie and film as years go on, so I learn more and I really begin to understand things and respect things more. So yeah, and another quick thing about the DVD is, here's a quick look at it. There's the DVD itself, that also sucks. And then it came with a little piece of paper with a digital copy. It's got the password on there, so if you guys just got the password, I guess you could steal that or whatever. I could care less. I don't even know how the hell digital shit works. I'm still trying to get my VCR time fixed. So that is pretty much done with the review of it. I mean, it was entertaining when I first saw it, slightly, but going back and reviewing it and rewatching it a second time, it was really lame. And it was upsetting. I mean, like, Jason was cool in some scenes, and it was neat to see him, I guess, like, on the big screen, and it was neat to see him back, but it's not the Jason that I'm familiar with. It's not the Jason that I know. So I guess just quick hitting up a few points. One thing I noticed was there was a ton of kind of the stereotypes were really out of control in this one. You know, with the black stereotype, the Asian stereotype, the douchebag stereotype, and just, you know, of course, like, the white guy gets the chick, and, like, you know, the black guy gets killed as usual, and just, I don't know, it's just, after so many horror movies have been made of this caliber and of this sort, and after just so many parodies making fun of horror movies, you would think that they would try to get away from these cliches with these new movies, because they have a chance to redo it and, like, fix a lot of the wrongs that, like, you know, early installments and sequels did, and instead they fell flat on their ass and just completely obliterated that whole idea. Another thing is just, like, trying to be fresh. I have some notes here that I'm basically reading off of, but it really didn't do anything too new. It really just kind of did the same thing over again, just copying the originals and paying so many odes to the originals that it got to the point where it was just annoying. I mean, like, it was nice that they had, you know, the cop getting his eyeball technically, like, blown out, but I mean, it's like, we've seen all those kills already, and it's kind of cool to see them, but I would have been a lot more happier if they found new ways to kill the victims rather than finding ways to pay ode to early kills and slightly using better technology. I mean, I will say that I'm surprised that CGI wasn't used. It was nice to see gritty, hand-to-hand special effects, but it wasn't anything like the original special effects were. The originals were amazing. The lighting in the film was very annoying and overboard and used, and it just created a lot of weird flashes of light throughout the entire film. It looked very unprofessional. The sound was really bad. It was just, everything about the film was just so forced. Everything just felt so forced. The sound, the looks, the lighting. I mean, it just, you know, and it was unfortunate because there were some things in the film, like, you know, weed growing in the woods. That was like a new idea. Jason's underground lair, explaining how he gets all around and how he stays hidden all those years. That was slightly inventive. But then the ending started looking more like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre all over again with that huge, long scene. I mean, it was almost sort of like the catacombs from the original Texas Chainsaw Part 2 from the 80s. So, I mean, the more I think about it, the more this film really wasn't that original. And, you know, there was some things that were cool, but I mean, it just, they just could have done more with it, and they could have brought the film to a much better level and just did something different with it. And if they weren't able to do anything different with it, then why remake it at all? At least, like, for example, Rob Zombie's Halloween was really fucking different. And, like, even the Psycho remake was awful. It was so awful. I can't believe I'm even bringing this up. And I have it on tape. Really sad. But even that had its own identity, and it, like, stood for something, and you could tell what they were doing with it. But, like, this film, it's just the way they played it up. It seemed so fresh. And then when you see it, it's like biting into an apple, and you're like, ugh, it's rotted, you know? So, you know, just taking a look at my notes real quick. I mean, honestly, I can understand why a lot of critics didn't like this movie. You know, it's tiresome. It's, movies like Scream have kind of done a good job of parodying and bringing the slasher to a new generation, whereas, like, this isn't really bringing the slasher to a new generation. It's just really not that cool. And yes, some of the kills were a little more lifelike, and they seemed a little bit more intense, but it was just all kills that we had seen already. And it just got annoying after a while to just have to sit through all of that. And the fact that, like, the first movie only ran for 5 minutes, technically. Like, they did the whole first movie in the beginning of the movie, which was kind of a slap in the face, because the original Friday the 13th was amazing, and to turn that whole movie into, like, a 5-minute segment to explain why Jason did what he did, I mean, I understand why they did it, but it was just unnecessary in my eyes, and it just hurts the original film. It would have been cool if they did some kind of spin-off with the mom, or maybe even finally introduce the father character that I've been dying for them to uncover, but I don't think that we'll ever get that, unfortunately. And my only other comment was, I just had it there for a minute, was the one thing that I found really cool was, it finally had dawned on me, and this is why, sometimes sequels and remakes have their moments. And the one moment that this movie had for me was that it kind of explained why Jason used a hockey mask, because the movie kind of did a good job of playing up the fact that he was ultimately, or he is, a boy in a man's body. So when you're a little boy, you like dressing up. Halloween's a great holiday. You have a lot of fun putting masks on and stuff like that. I mean, just the other day, I was working at my job, and we were having a children's event, and this kid came in and he had this mask, and he wore the mask the entire time he was at the theater. Kids love wearing masks, and the cooler they look, they're going to wear them longer. So in an instance when Jason uncovers the hockey mask, he's thinking as, like, a little kid almost. Like, he kind of understands that he's a monster and that he looks awful and that he wants to hide his face, but another part of him is still a kid. So he sees that mask and he's thinking, that looks cool, or I like hockey, or yeah, I like that. So that's why he wears the mask. And I will say the original Part 3 does not do a good job at all of explaining that, whereas this one did a much better job explaining it. But like I said in my earlier review, they still fucked up that whole scene with just not presenting the mask a little bit better, or in a cooler way. Decapitation is what we wanted. Don't give us some other nonsense and try and build up a story and then build character around someone that didn't have character. I mean, the directors were like, this character is just going to get killed and give Jason his mask. And then they turn around and they're like, well, that character needs more character. It's like, nobody cares. Like, we don't care. Even if that character lived, we don't care. We want to see the mask, and it better be cool. And when you give it to us and then you change it, of course we're going to be upset. So that's pretty much all I have to say with the review. I mean, I just wanted to keep it short and sweet. Thanks so much for watching. Overall, I mean, it's a pretty lousy DVD. I bought this, I think, on sale a couple of years ago, because I'm a major collector and I have to own every single one. But yeah, it's just one of those things that it happens, and I got on with it, and I just, you know, hopefully one day the original Jason will return somehow, who knows, but until then, we're left with remakes. So, this is Jeff saying thanks so much for watching, and if you didn't know any of this before, well, now you know. Take care.